the man behind so much of America's comedy for 5 decades.
Well, as I see it, there is only one solution. And that is for me to get my gear, move it on in here, because I'm going to bunk with you, buddy. We're going to be buddies. We're going to be pals. We're going to wrestle around. Old Matt's going to be your shadow. Here's you, here's Matt. There's you, there.
Saturday Night Live recently celebrated its 50th anniversary, as you know, and it started out as a late-night show starring relative unknowns and went on to become a comedy institution, launching the careers of so many people: John Belushi, Tina Fey, Eddie Murphy, Chris Farley, so many others. A new book looks at the man who started it all.
Lorne, the man who invented Saturday Night Live, goes behind the scenes of Lorne Michaels' journey to build and sustain SNL. Written by New Yorker editor Susan Morrison, who joins us this morning. Hello, Susan.
Good morning. How are you?
Did I read correctly that this book was 10 years in the making?
Yes, it was. That's because Lorne knows an awful lot of people, and I wanted to talk to all of them. He himself is a very good talker, and I talked to him about 50 times for this book. And I have a pretty demanding day job.
Right. I always wondered, was he just, happened to be the guy who was there at the time when this juggernaut took off, or were there special elements that he brought to it all that made SNL the institution that it is?
I've heard people say that, but I disagree with the idea that he just lucked into it. He was unusual in that he wanted to take the fusty old format of variety TV and bring it into the counterculture, sex, drugs, rock and roll, things that his generation cared about. And he was unusual in that he was a relatively young man, less than 30, but he already had this elaborate skill set in how to find talent, how to mount a show, how to make it look like the kids had taken over the grown-up studio, once they had all gone home.
I'm sure there were, in those early years, I'm sure the ratings were not great. And I know there was some downtime in the 80s, and he left for a period of time. How did he get big musical acts to come? How did he get the executives to stick with this show?
Well, it's interesting. In the beginning, it was really tough to get the musical acts because people don't remember this, but rock and roll people didn't want to do television. Television was so square. Mm-hmm. And when he moved into Studio 8H, they didn't have anything like the sound capability. Like if you wanted to get the Stones on your show, you had to have a good sound system, which cost a lot of money. So he was always really silver-tongued with the executives. He got them to give him all the upgrades that he needed. And in terms of keeping the show going, he compares it often to a Snickers bar. He says, people know what they're getting. They're getting a certain amount of chocolate, a certain amount of peanuts, a certain amount of caramel. There's a comfort level. But the magic that he brings to it is that he figures out how to kind of vary that and change it and update it as one generation fades into another.
Yeah, and regardless of what generation you're in, comedy is notoriously hard to do really well. And Dana Carvey said without his sensibility, it would be hee-haw. Do you have some insight as to what that means? Like, what is that comedic touch that he moves them this way, not that way?
Well, when he started the magazine, he said that first of all, he hired the writers first. Highly unusual. Writers are usually at the bottom of the totem pole. And he said that he wanted to model the show on a magazine. So you would have distinctive voices and viewers would know who had written different sketches the way people know who wrote different pieces in the New Yorker. So it's really having different tastes and different voices. In every show, there's something that's terrible and there's something that's good, and different people will like different things. He likes to say that on his tombstone will be the word uneven. So I think that's part of it. It's like having something in there for everybody.
Now,
it isn't all one flavor.
Yeah. In your conversations with him, was he particularly proud of one find or another, one talent or another? I mean, he has launched some of the biggest names in show business now.
I think he's proud of all of them. You know, there's definitely, if you read my book, you'll see that there's a real father figure dynamic going on there, with, you know, for better or for worse. Um, he especially likes the ones who get in there, recognize that it's a sink or swim culture, and are just determined to figure it out for themselves. You know, there's no orientation, there's no instruction manual. You know, he loves people like Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, who just figure, okay, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to game this, figure out how to get my material on the air. But no, I mean, he has favorites around the office, but I don't think he would. I mean, Tina Fey told me that she thought she was one of his favorites, and I'll say I agree. And you Chicago people must be proud.
Yeah,
you-
he's
Not
harvested
I know
a lot
she's from Philly,
Second
but I
City,
mean, I
yeah.
mean the.
So, what about retirement? Everyone was saying that this 50th anniversary show was a tribute to Lorne Michaels. Is anyone speculating about whether or not he'll remain with the show after this season?
Well, a lot of people are speculating that he'll retire, and names for replacements have been floated. Tina Fey, Seth Meyers, Colin Jost. I don't think he will want to retire. I don't think he'll want to leave the show. I think he'll have to be carried out of there, you know, on a stretcher. And I don't think NBC would want him to leave. My theory and my recommendation, I guess, if they're asking me, is that I think he could do a great job if he just cuts back on his studio time. If he went in on Wednesday when they do the read through of 4 hours worth of sketches and then pared them down to 12. And then Saturday when he sits and watches the dress rehearsal and then does this kind of magic jujitsu of changing everything around, cutting everything, and figuring out what the live show is going to be. I think if he went in on Wednesday and Thursday evenings, his very able squad of deputies could handle the rest. And I could see him doing that to the very end.
Well, the book is Lorne, the Man Who Invented Saturday Night Live. For more, you can follow Susan on Instagram. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.